They didn't even believe in us. God did. How do you switch and unplug from a bad call and get back on board and get on to the next one? But if you're able to switch, change up, unplug, and speak the right language at the right times, you are officially part. This is an underrated life skill. Changing your mind quickly when you're wrong. Not eventually, but immediately.
You know, I changed my mind.
Like having the ability to say, you know what, you're right. Most people, they just default to defending bad positions. And they're doing this out of their own pride. But winners, they pivot fast, like they're not allowed to get too attached to an idea or to a position.
Pivot! Pivot!
Like they're not attached to being right all the time. They're attached to getting it right. Because ego is expensive, but humility, that's profitable. Assalamu Alaykum friends, it's Ali Alidina, and welcome back to the vlog. In Japan, children are taught Gaman. That's the art of enduring hardship without complaint. Meaning that at 6 years old, they're already practicing walking to school alone, cleaning classrooms, and serving food to classmates. The lesson is super simple. Responsibility isn't punishment, it's freedom.
Our freedom!
But in America, responsibility frequently gets postponed because parents, they shield their kids from things like failure, chores, and discomfort. And the hidden message? They're telling their kids, you're fragile. And that protection, it feels like love in childhood, but later on in life, it manifests into weaknesses that adults pay coaches and therapists in order to undo. The Japanese rule is super clear. Don't expect others to carry your weight. A child learns to contribute early, and contribution creates self-worth. But in contrast, when contribution is delayed, adulthood hits like a brick wall because all of a sudden now you got bills, you got work, you got relationships, you got to be disciplined, you got to show up on time, you got to be responsible for your actions. And many people, they crumble under the weight that they were never trained to hold. The irony of this is that Japanese kids gain confidence through struggle, while many Western adults only seek healing after avoiding struggle. One side grows resilience as muscle memory, and the other side hires professionals in order to teach them lessons that their grandparents learned on a daily basis. But the brutal truth here is that resilience isn't a secret therapy that needs to be unlocked. It's a rule and way of life that every 6-year-old in Japan already knows. Life is tough, and that's not a flaw, it's the point. The earlier you accept it, the freer you become. And the later you accept it, well, the more you'll pay to relearn it. And this, my friends, is what I called life coming at you fast. Carl Jung once said, you are what you do, not what you say you'll do. So I want to talk about not being always available, because when you do that, everything changes. In a sense, you need to use absence in order to create and earn respect and honor, because too much circulation makes the price go down. The more that you are seen and heard from, the more common that you appear. So if you are already established in a group, temporary withdrawal from it will make you more admired and maybe even more talked about. So you have to learn when to leave and create value through scarcity. One of the clearest acts of change is when you stop being always available. Being always available may sound good because, you know, you want to help.
Help me!
You want to be liked, you want to feel needed.
And I need you.
You want to be dependable. But when you give your time too freely, people start to expect it. They stop saying thank you. They stop asking if now is a good time. They just assume you'll say yes because you're always available, right? But the more you say yes to others, the less you say yes to yourself. You stay late at work, you reply to texts right away, you meet up even when you're tired, you take calls when you're exhausted and you really need rest. And at first people praise you like you're so dependable, they'll say. But over time, they're gonna treat your time as if it's theirs. And that's when something needs to change. When you stop being always available, you start taking your time back.
That's mine!
You stop replying at once and you say no when you're drained.
No.
You don't explain yourself, you just put your needs first. And that's not rude, that's healthy. And when you do things, things start to shift. Because some people, they're gonna get upset. They're gonna be like, oh, you know, I think you've changed. And they're right, you have. You no longer give time without thought. You no longer say yes out of guilt. And you don't shrink yourself in order to keep other people happy. Other people, real friends, like the people who care, they'll stick around. They won't get upset when you say no. They won't guilt trip you when you try to take space for yourself. They'll respect it, and some of them will even follow your lead. You'll notice other changes too, like you'll start feeling less rushed.
I need to calm down. Everything's fine.
You You start sleeping better, you start focusing more, and you start getting time back for yourself to do things that you like to do. Like if you like to read, or you like to write, or you like to just do nothing at all. You start finding space to think, and in that space, you start finding newer ways to grow. And with that, you come back to yourself. Carl Jung, he believed that the self isn't found in the large crowd. It's found in quiet, in reflection, in pulling back from the noise. But you can't do that if you never stop moving, if you never log off, if you never say no. You don't need to vanish. You don't need to block everyone, but you do need clear lines, because when people know that your time matters, they start treating it that way. And when you make space in your life, the right people and things start to fill that space. This doesn't mean cutting everyone off. It means choosing when and how to give your time. Not out of habit and not out of fear, but out of your own personal choice. So stop being always available. You don't owe the world your time. You owe yourself some peace.
Finally, inner peace.
And with that peace and space and time for yourself, you start finding ways to become better prepared. I like to tell you a story about the farmer who's hiring a new farmhand for his ranch. This gentleman, he comes in, he applies for the job. The guy already comes in highly recommended, so the farmer asks him, why should I hire you? Why are you the perfect person for this position? It's a very simple question, so the farmhand looks at him and he says, well, I can sleep through any storm, no matter how severe it is. And the farmer, who's like really incredibly surprised by this answer, says, you know what? You're hired. You got the job. A couple weeks go by, the farmer's woken up one night by one of the most ridiculous storms he's ever felt. I mean, high wind, hail, pouring water, it's raining like crazy. It's a violent storm. So he jumps up in a panic, he runs out to the field in order to tend to the horses. He goes looking for the horses in the field. He realizes they're not there. They're in the barn. So he goes inside the barn in order to take a closer look, and he realizes all the horses are covered up with blankets. They got the eye covers on, and they're secure and locked up. So he says, oh my God, what about the tools and the tractors and the heavy equipment? So he runs out to the other side of the barn, and he realizes that they're all tied down, secured, and they're all safe. That food for the animals. He goes out there to the other side of the barn. He notices that all the barrels are wrapped up. They bungee corded down. Everything's secure. Nothing's getting wet. So then he goes looking for the farmhand, and he goes to find the farmhand, and he sees that he's safe. He's in the barn. Everything is secure, and he's fast asleep. And in that moment, he realized what he meant when he interviewed him. He truly meant that he could sleep through any storm successfully and make it look effortless. And in fact, a lot of people would call this luck. But in life, luck is when preparation meets opportunity. When you start realizing that yesterday's preparation equals today's success, you too can sleep through any storm. Meaning that success and confidence isn't about being ready for everything that comes, but rather prepared for everything that does. And you might hear this story of the farmhand and you might think to yourself, well, you know, in order for me to become that type of a person, there's gonna be some need for change. As in, I'm gonna have to change a little bit about how I approach things. People change in 4 different seasons. People change when they hurt enough that they have to, or when they see enough that they're actually inspired to, when they learn enough that they want to, and of course when they receive enough that they're actually able to. And speaking of change, my language when I'm speaking with investors is a different language. Then you go have a conversation with board members or people who have already invested. That's a completely different conversation than when I go and have a conversation at the bank. And then I gotta go pick up a truck from, let's say, another state, and I gotta go speak to a shop. That's a different conversation too. Now let's say one of these conversations or one of these meetings goes absolutely terrible. I mean, the call and the meeting is just bad. How do you switch and unplug from a bad call and get back on board and get on to the next one? Like all of a sudden, after a terrible phone call, you're able to get on to the next one that's scheduled. Hey, how you doing? This is Ali at Exam Transport. Yeah, I'm doing great. I am absolutely convinced that today is the most amazing day of my life. But if you're able to switch, change up, unplug, and speak the right language at the right times, you are officially part of a very small elite community of people. Having the ability to be a chameleon and unplug from a bad call and go right into the next one with full enthusiasm, it means that you have the ability to leap thousands upon thousands of people, because a very small number of people have the ability to do this. And because this is not an easy thing to do. So if somebody asked me, like, what's the one common characteristic you find in people who get to where they want to go? And the answer is people get to where they want to go because they know precisely where they want to go. Most people don't really know where they want to go. They're being driven by things like maybe like what they think they should do, or maybe what other people say they should do, or maybe what they have stuck in their mind for a very long time that they've convinced themselves that they just need to do. But the most important question you can really ask yourself is, what do I really want? Where am I really trying to get to? Once you can establish what the answer to that is, then you can make everything that you do going forward, every choice that you make, every move you make, every decision, what you decide to eat, what you decide to put in your body, all of that gets reflected into the direction of where you're trying to go. And when you start making the decisions that start leading you towards your vision, the forces of life rise up to meet you. And the reason why people have such chaotic lives is because they're living in chaos in their head. But as soon as you get clear on where it is exactly that you want to go, things in your head start clearing up too. Listen, visualization is not optional when the margin for error is absolute zero. When you're trying to get to a higher level or you're trying to make high-level decisions, visualization isn't optional, it's protocol. High-level visualization activates neural circuits. It primes the motor cortex and it conditions the body to move with precision. So by rehearsing scenarios mentally, visualization starts to build internal predictability. It reduces performance anxiety and it improves execution by conditioning the brain for what to expect before it even happens. This is how the elite train. This is how you wire yourself for composure, accuracy, and control before the fight even begins. So then you might say, well, I don't know if I should begin. I mean, it's kind of late. I feel like everybody's kind of lapping me. All my peer groups already kind of done what I hoped and dreamed to do. But the reality is that the average person changes careers at 39. Most small business owners start at the age of 47. The average millionaire is 57. So if you're in the 20 to 40-year-old range and you're already thinking about business, you're not late, you're right on time. But how do people read you without you even noticing? So I want to talk about 7 ways that people read you without you even noticing. They observe your blink rate in silence. If you blink rapidly in quiet moments, it could signal nervousness, dishonesty, or an expectation of judgment. Comfortable people stay still in silence. Number 2, they pay attention to how you interact with people of lower status. Like, do you greet the waiter at the restaurant warmly or dismissively? And that's how they see your true character. Anyone can charm those above them, but it's how you treat those below you that matters. Number 3, they notice your self-soothing gestures. For example, touching your lips or rubbing your neck are subconscious signs of anxiety, especially after saying something that might not be entirely truthful. Number 4, they listen to your pronouns when you're under pressure. For example, do you use the word we when claiming success? And do you use the word you when assigning blame? Because people reveal their true values when their ego is on the line. Number 5, they track your micro pauses before you answer. A quick and smooth answer is often prepared and authentic, but a delayed response with a bunch of filler words is often a form of filtering or fabricating. Number 6, they ask how you define success and then keep quiet, because your answer will tell them everything that they need to know about what drives you. Is it money, impact, status, or peace? And in just 20 seconds, they'll learn more than in hours of small talk. And number 7, they observe how you enter a room where nobody knows you. Do you scan the room for allies or do you make others feel seen? And this reveals how secure you are without the need for external validation. In the previous scene, we talked about how people observe you and how they witness you and how they form judgment. But that's different from comparison. Oh, you're still not married? Oh, he just got promoted again. Same age as you. Oh, your cousin just bought a house in Miami. Big one with a pool too. Congratulations to them.
Congratulations!
But let me say something loud and clear. Comparison is the quickest way to disrespect someone else's silent battles. You don't know if someone's been trying to get married or have kids for years, but they can't. And you don't know if that business that's booming is 2 months behind on payroll and taking loans in order just to make payroll on Fridays. And you don't know if that house in Miami came with a 30-year mortgage and a panic attack that led somebody into the hospital. But sure, let's compare. Let's act like life is a scorecard and everybody's on the same track. Spoiler alert. We're not even playing the same sport. And even when you're doing great, like even when your business is thriving or your heart is full, don't compare for praise either. Because comparison, even with good intentions, is just pressure, dressed up as a compliment. You wanna know what real class looks like? Train without comparing, support without interrogating, and love without keeping score. So the next time someone throws one of those, oh, he already did this, you just smile and say, I'm building a life that's deeply mine, aligned with my values, timed by my truth, and I'm proud of that.
Of course!
And lastly, I want to talk about the law of forgiveness. The law of forgiveness simply states that you're mentally healthy to the degree to which you can freely forgive and forget. Forgetting about the grievances against you is the single most important determinant of whether or not you are a fully integrated, fully functional adult human being. Because the tendency to blame and hold grudges is a childlike pathological tendency that is possessed by all people who are mentally ill. Now, once you accept that as true, there are 4 people that you have to forgive. Number 1 is forgive your parents. Most of the research out there shows that almost all of our adult problems trace back to being unwilling or unable to forgive our parents for something that they did that hurt us.
I can never forgive you for what you've done.
Number 2 is forgive others. Forgive everyone else. Forgive everyone who has ever hurt you for everything and for anything. Just let it go. Now, some people say, there's just this one thing that I just can't forgive because there's something specific that somebody did to me. But you have to remember this, that forgiveness is perfectly selfish. Forgiveness has nothing to do with the other person. It has everything to do with your peace of mind and assuring your own mental integrity. Number 3, you gotta forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for every wicked, senseless, brainless, foolish, ridiculous thing that you've ever done. Because everybody has done things that they completely regret and things that they look back at and think, oh my God, I cannot believe I did that.
Are you not embarrassed? This is really embarrassing.
But forgive yourself 100%.
I forgive you.
The last and most important part of this thing is if you have done something to hurt someone else, go find them, seek them out, and go apologize to them. It's amazing how many lives are ruined year after year by people who do not have the intestinal fortitude, like the guts, to go to somebody and say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry and I apologize. So have the courage and go out there and go say, I'm sorry. With that being said, thank you so much for watching and see you at the top. Peace. They didn't believe in us. God did.